Hello everyone and welcome to Gierok Farms. In today's video we wanted to highlight the maternity pen here on the dairy farm. We've never really gone in depth with how this portion of the farm is set up, and I know we've gotten some questions about it. So it's a beautiful day. We got a beautiful cow and calf in here, and we wanted to go through it with you guys. So hope you enjoy the video. Starting off here, Dad is feeding a bottle calf that we have down here yet. How old is this calf, Dad?
Oh, it's only, I think, about a week. They really get vigorous to start with, and then I think they have trouble digesting the milk. You almost got to back off on the milk after about a week, and then it picks up again. That's a heifer, but it was born during the cold. But so, the maternity pen. So we got our calf barn here. I built this in '93. There used to be an old chicken coop here that was falling apart, and took that away and put this here. So this is 40 by 60, this area. Basically got 6 pens, and then we got what we call the small side, which we got it kind of extended into the manger area here for the winter. And we got a door there too, so we're able to kind of separate some of the weaned calves all the way up to stuff that's close to breeding size, and then they go up to the other barn. And then we added this portion on, which is a 24 by 40, roughly 12-foot sidewalls. There's a really good slope in here because in our yard it kind of goes into the bank more here. So this area is higher than that side by about 3 feet. And then I wanted to put all this skylight stuff. It's a good material. They call it Sun Tough. It's almost like a PVC product. South side, so the sun comes in here. Summer, you'll see us filling this up with little square bales. I used to just pack it full, and then by the time we got to October, we already had some room where I could put a cow in here that was calving. Behind this barn is our calf pasture. We call it the calf pasture. It's about a 2-acre patch where a cow like this in the warmer months would be out there. The only time we'd bring her in here is if there was some kind of trouble, or maybe to milk her or something. Or we had to pull the calf or help it along. We got lights here and stuff like that. And then as we feed the hay out, so all this hay gets fed to those heifers throughout the fall, winter, into the spring, we keep extending these gates back. And I bought this feeder panel gate, so this animal here can eat dry hay here. We got a little bunk business over there. We come in here with a scoop of corn silage about every third, fourth day, depending on. And I'll usually only put 2 cows in here at a time, simply because it's just, they need room. They don't want them picking on each other. If they calve, they don't step on each other, all those things. And this is reasonably close to our barn we call the bull barn, which is our dry cow close-up heifer barn, so that it's easy to move within 50 feet of you.
Yeah,
know?
and you'll see that we got to move some dry cows today along with this fresh cow.
And we got water here, and one of those Nelson waters that kind of work the same way, and in past videos you've seen that. And then I got a sheet of steel on here, which I got some studs there to represent a feed bunk. So in the summer this steel comes off, so this animal could be eating from the other side. So you can still offer her some grain, dry hay if needed, and then she's got her water here. And in the winter, this just inserts in there. Otherwise, that piece of steel gets stored up in here. I kind of scooted in here just for, so it's there, like first real cold spell in like November or late October, we can just shove it in quick and not have to, just 1 or 2 screws. But
Yeah, and then before we get milk in here, let's highlight the pump. And
okay, so this vacuum pump, this is actually the vacuum pump that came from the dairy barn where I grew up. My brother's there now, and he updated all that a long time ago. These were in just about every barn in this county around us. This is with vanes in it. And I found a motor. Your stainless steel canister there is kind of like your volume. You got your regulator up there. I think they call it a Sentinel. I have to look again. But anyway, that's a regulator I used to have up in our main system until we updated into something better. And then I got a what they call a pneumatic pulsator attached on there. I think that's maybe D level. That works with air, so the vacuum controls it. There's no electricity to control our pulsation. And then we have our bucket milker here. You know, surge bucket. There used to be a pulsator that went on top of here. There were some videos from way back they did on all the milk machine stuff. That explains a little more, but so her milk actually would go into here. Nothing goes up the hoses. So you got your air hose and you got your pulsation hose. And there's 2 little hoses, so it's basically alternates. You know, your pulsation goes between one and the other. So
it mimics if you were doing it by hand and going.
Yeah, and there's some science to that, like a 60-40. There's different equations of how you want your pulsation to work. And I don't know, you'll find what they recommend and what's been working, and cows like consistency. Even down here, this is being pneumatic is not going to be as accurate and consistent. Maybe on a cold morning it'll be a little off, but it still gets the cow milk. So the theory is she just calved. She's already kind of in, you know, big change going on in her world. Last thing we need to do is chase her up into the dairy barn and try to put her in with there. Now we can't put her calf with her there, of course. This way she gets to have a day or two with her calf. I find that better for the calf and the mother, and in case she would come down with something like milk fever or anything like that. But it just gives her time because her udder gets swollen. She just needs more room to sprawl out. And then we usually keep this quite bedded. And what I do before we put the hay in here too, I'll bed this all real fresh, real thick. So the bedding's already under the hay, so the hay isn't right down on the concrete. So as we keep moving our gates back, it's already there and it's firm and it represents pasture in a way.
And this pen also allows us, compared to shipping them up to the dairy barn right away, we can keep a better eye on just a single cow or two of them and give them the extra attention they need.
Yeah, so if they were to calve in the night, I know calving in the stalls, I mean, if you can avoid that, you should. They need a larger area in here and then good lighting and stuff like that. And probably even to update it even more to get a camera where you can actually watch it from your living area.
Yeah.
Just, you know, so you're not always going out and checking. Anyway, so this is an old mama. She's, I believe this is her 6th calf. I want to think I had trouble getting her pregnant. She wouldn't stick. I used Jersey in her. Used more fertile bulls. I'm not sure if the semen stays alive longer in the cow or what their theory is there, but Jersey is generally more fertile than Holstein if you have trouble getting cows pregnant. But anyway, it's all good. And I think she's a bit of a Jersey cross. I think she's got Jersey Holstein. So we're going to milk her, and this is already, I think, the 6th milking. Usually I like to go 4 days or 8 milkings, depending on what the milk looks like. Before that, the milk is more like colostrum, especially those first 2 to 3 milkings. So then I get the milk here. I'll bring the bottle down here right away. Calf is here. For instance, she's going to go up to the dairy barn, I think, tonight. And I got another cow that's going to need to come in here. And then her calf either would be put into the super hot, or if there wasn't already a calf there, her calf maybe would go there for a while. And like if we had like sub-zero weather or really wet conditions, sometimes the super hot's already full. I mean, it just gives us another option. Again, south side, keep an eye on it. The calf's uphill from the cows. Because the general rule of thumb is, for disease purposes, they would like you to remove the calf from the cow sooner, because certain diseases get passed through the manure. And we don't have any issues here, but we hear a lot about these things, and it's maybe more because we do follow through. Out in the pasture, it's a little different, more space, everything's spread out more, less likely the calf would come in contact with the manure of the mother, things like that. So the way we do things, for you that don't know cattle, it's always for the better for the animals in the long run. We're trying to keep everything safe and healthy. So we're gonna dip her down here. I've always had pretty good luck. I just got a chain I tie them to. And usually a first calf heifer, to get that strap on, we got this gate here. We can swing this gate up against that wall and get her kind of sandwiched in there a little bit, so we can get that strap on. Always better would help. But our animals, we're in contact with our animals all the time. It makes a huge difference. I know I think it's some of Mason's friends one time were working for larger farms, different farms around too, and they were quite surprised on how calm and easy it was working with our new heifers and stuff. So it was good to hear, and it's just because we're physically around them more.
Yeah, and any type of livestock, setting an environment up to where they'll go there on their own, it's better than forcing them into something.
The lure works way better than pushing.
Yeah.
Once you start forcing animals, we notice that with the hoofing, it's usually if they're not aware that you're going to try. I mean, you can't explain it to them, so they're just doing what nature says and getting them to go willingly. And I know a lot of these older farmers, they always used to have a few bales of hay in the back of their pickup, like they had beef herd. Then they would have these pails with these lids on. Maybe they bought some other products in those pails, but they kept them and they put shelled corn in those pails. And they'd have them rolling around the back of their truck. And they're so clever, even if they didn't need to do nothing with the animals, they come out checking stuff and counting them. They would put some out in a trough or somehow, and the animals would all come running, you know. It's almost like baiting them in a way. And then, of course, when they had to like separate one or something in that order, or catch them, it was so easy. They just said they just grab those pails and those bales of hay and those cattle follow them. Definitely get better results that way. So anyway, that's always a good thing to get your animals to trust you. That and then of course if you have to do anything with them, you know, quick, the least amount of
Stress.
yes, and usually they get over it quicker. Kind of like pulling out a sliver, you know. Quick and fast is always better than picking at it, of course. We're gonna get her milk. We're gonna get going with that. Yeah, we'll keep this pen pretty clean. Typically, before a new mom comes in here, most of the time we'll clean it before that. Once in a while, one will calve out in the other barn. It's pretty clean out there at times too, which is kind of good. So her placenta and all that water and fluids and everything comes out there and makes the big mess over there. And then you bring her here right away to the dry pen for a calf to get licked off. Kind of like having a bed with fresh sheets after all the drama's over with. Yeah, and this mama, she's been around a while. She's one of those good old cows that's probably getting close to her end of her time. And we're gonna keep her for at least one more lactation here. I mean, I gotta climb up here a little bit, but it's kind of more of a keep it out of the dust, keep it out of the way of the animals. And then for the winter, I have trouble getting this motor started. It will blow the breaker for me because the oil in here is very stiff like grease. So there's bolts on here. I got this speed wrench, and that's like a ratchet wrench. Anyway, I'll loosen that nut and loosen up the belt, and then turn it on, and then tighten the belt. I got kind of a strategic way, and I know there's a better way to make this work, but actually it's a little loose now. I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit. Because now it's warmer, we probably won't need to do this till next winter again, but there might be 5-6 times in the winter. And there's no real science to it, it's a real simple process. But anyway, once I got the motor running, tighten the belt up, takes the pump up, you know, gets going. And there you go. It ain't perfect setup, but it could be enhanced, I guess, more. You can hear the pulsation, and then typically what I do while she's milking, I'm feeding a calf or something, so I'm trying to multitask a little bit. And then of course, if her calf hadn't drank yet, then that milk gets fed to this calf immediately while it's still warm. I haven't done it where really cold mornings, because I mean, we just got done with some really cold stretches here this winter, where I'd put hot water inside that bucket and maybe a little warm water inside the bottle when I bring it down here. And so everything is warm when it starts off, so that the calf is getting really warm milk right away, and they will suck better and everything. You know, cold milk, and they're kind of sticking their nose up at it. And until they get older, it may not matter as much, but them first couple feedings, because all that iron is cold. And then sometimes she doesn't give a lot that first milking, so then you end up with 2 quarts of some icy milk, which is not as good.
All right, we finished milking. The calf has already drank, so we're gonna move her and her calf and then get the new mom and calf in here.
The big bull calf. I think we're just gonna keep her here overnight. Tomorrow she'll go up to the dairy barn. We got this tunnel fixed up with this little area here. Now he's gonna take that up to the super hut. There's one hut bedded there. I'm sure you'll figure that deal out. We're gonna put that up there. We'll probably put a jacket on it. We got one more cold night we're gonna have, and then kind of talking more spring-like. And that's usually till it's about 50 degrees pretty consistently before we take the jackets off. In here I may not need a jacket, at least not right now.
All right, we finished milking that new cow in the maternity pen. We moved our calf up to the super hut, the other calf into the pen with the new mom. You can see the cows kind of playing around in here, playing king of the pen here, trying to figure out who's boss. We put number 11 and 89 in here. So we got 2 of the milking cows dried up, and now we're gonna get back to normal chores, your regular programming. So I'm gonna end off this video here. Thank you all for making it to the end. Tried to make it a bit more about the maternity pen and the whole calving procedure. If you like those type of videos, let me know down in the comments. Anyways, we appreciate you being part of the channel, part of the family. Thanks for being on the journey with us, and we will see you all next time.